Hello. Welcome to the Pinfall podcast. I'm your host, Liz. I'm joined by my beautiful new desk-owning co-host, Marcus, and we're here to talk about Smackdown, I guess.
You might notice my webcam frame looks a little different this time. It's because I had to completely rearrange everything. I'm a little further away from my webcam, and my mic is a little more in the frame. Actually, let me lower that. There we go. Now you can see my mouth.
I'm the one that stares at you every time we do this, and I was like, I don't really notice the difference, surprisingly. I kind of thought I would.
My mic is normally like, you can just barely see it in like the corner here.
Notice that.
But now it's like front and center.
Yeah, Mark got a brand new desk because Mark just celebrated his little birthday. He's old now.
Yesterday was my birthday.
I put his desk together, and now my thumb doesn't work. So
I just want everyone to know that
part of getting old.
Liz volunteered to put the entire desk together by herself.
I was 100. I'm not regretting putting it together. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is there is absolutely no reason for my thumb to hurt nearly as bad as it does right now. Like, because I put it together the night before your birthday.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been 2 days since then now. Probably about 48 hours exactly. I'm still in pain. I was trying to get like conditioner out of my almost empty sample bottle, smacking it against my hand. I was like, this is hell. But anyways, so yes, happy birthday to Mark.
Woo.
1 year older. I'm not going to say 1 year wiser.
Today was Smackdown.
Yeah. Oh, we're talking about Smackdown?
A heartbreaking Smackdown.
It had no reason. It had no right.
There were what, 2 things in this episode that made it heartbreaking?
One thing that like definitely made it heartbreaking, and one thing that is probably gonna make it heartbreaking.
No, 3 things that were heartbreaking.
I mean, I had my trust once again ripped out from under me, if that's what we're talking about.
One thing that involved Sheamus, one thing at the very end, and then one thing in the middle that we both know is heartbreaking.
Right, so we're talking about when WWE said, oh, you don't trust us anymore to do the things that we said we might do. Actually, prior to the episode, we also got some upsetting news, so that's fine.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm currently in the process of all of my Smackdown signs are kind of getting old and worn out. I just had the little thing for best of the night, and now it's gone, so I guess I'm making another one of those too. Also, I have one less light on because I couldn't stand how sad and washed out it made my screen. It's too dark, somebody say something, but if nobody says anything, I'm going to enjoy how truly dark my hair is.
I think it looks fine. Also, hi Mike, this is not Biggie's night unless we give him the award for Best Ragdoll. And thank you for the birthday wishes.
Largest crash through a windshield.
Or just crack.
The only other contestant this year is Adam Cole. So, like we can get into the news. There isn't that much to talk about as far as SmackDown is concerned. Shockingly,
yeah. 3 fights today.
Yeah, and I don't mind it because SmackDown I think kind of pared things down a little bit until the last half hour where they said, "Here's everything all at once. I hope you don't get whiplash." And I said, okay, yeah, sure. Why not?
So want to jump into it?
No, we could just talk about your birthday a little bit longer.
Okay. So, I also got some new speakers for my desk. Before yesterday, I had never had speakers for my computer ever, and for the first time since I built this computer, let's see, how long ago was it? 6 years ago, I had not had speakers at all. I also got this neat little loop deck for video editing, mostly color correcting. That's interesting. I guarantee nobody else thinks so.
I'm going in.
And now that I have a
Give me
new
a
desk,
second.
I can have this nice mic arm that I've had for years and haven't had a desk to put it on.
Also, if I can show everyone real quick, because everyone talks about Cat all goddamn time.
Don't show the cat.
Let me see if I can just bring you down. There she is, folks. Cat.
My God. Is that even appropriate for Twitch?
It might not be. If we are banned, I'm so sorry. She does have one hell of a dump truck ass.
Oh, a Pixar mom ass.
She does. She's a fatty. She's a little fatty.
There is one thing that I want to talk about with the news that I just thought of. But I'll bring it up once we get to it.
Yeah, hang ten.
Yeah.
Also, I do want to point out that when I start sweating uncontrollably because it's very hot and I am talking in front of people, probably you're gonna see it now.
Nice.
I'm so shiny. But that's the highlighter this time. Nothing in my teeth. Now I did that. Okay, so let's start with the lame ass news and then we'll get into the real shit. So A Common Razar were officially released, which is kind of funny because they were literally people were just talking about like them coming back soon. WWE was like, nope. Adios. Well.
Yeah.
That's not really a loss.
I never expected them to come back anyway.
I feel like nowadays it's like if they were really big, they'll come back, and if they weren't, I'm just gonna have to forget about them altogether.
In my opinion, they were kind of in the same boat as Carl or Anderson and Gallows. Kind of like
I feel like Anderson and Gallows were way more eventful.
Yeah, but I just mean like in terms of like getting released and moving on from that. I totally expected A Common Razar to have already explored options and other ventures in wrestling.
I mean, just like anybody else that was off from their job during the pandemic, I think they're probably like, so we're still wrestlers if anybody wants us. I don't think that the WWE saw them as being very
profitable
financially. Yeah. Which we all know how much Vince needs things to be financially profitable for him and him alone.
Which we'll get to in one piece of news coming up.
That'll probably be one of the last. Stay tuned. So I'll skip over my Chris Jericho comments. I'm not going to say them right now because I know that there's some people that watch the show that also like Chris Jericho's AEW stuff, and that's fine. It's fine. Anyways, Rey Mysterio has a new cartoon, which is named something that you know because I didn't. I didn't
actually tell you the name of it. I said it was Mucha Lucha 2, which was a joke.
My brain wasn't paying attention. I thought you told me like the real title. But he does have a new cartoon, and I guess that's fun stuff for Ray.
I wish it was Mucha Lucha 2.
Dom's taking over his spotlight.
Is it the Dom show? Is it like a cartoon sitcom of the Mysterios, kind of like the Big Show show?
Dude, if it were, I would watch it. I would absolutely watch it in a heartbeat. I'd be like, yep, I want to see Angie yelling at Ray at some point, please.
Except
she deserves it.
The show would just be about his daughter and coming to terms with the fact that she comes from a family of wrestlers. Her brother wants to wrestle, but the only one she has to confide in is her mother, who doesn't want to wrestle at all, but still has been involved in that lifestyle for a while, so she's kind of the median in that case. And the father kind of alienates the daughter. Honestly, that would be a really great plot.
Well, okay. I was going to say that seems like a really good plot, actually, because it's like, I come from a family of wrestlers, and, I don't want to be a wrestler, but, this is my family, and they're crazy. That seems like a perfect, cartoon.
I feel like that's kind of the plot of Fighting With My Family.
She enjoys it. She wants to be there.
There was a point in the movie where she didn't want to be a wrestler.
Because she felt bad about her brother.
Yeah. That was a good
Her brother was
movie.
like, "Are you stupid?"
What?
There's something more to say?
I
Oh, it sounded like you had
I
something to say.
just was saying it's a good movie. Definitely go watch Fighting with My Family if you haven't. It's the Paige movie.
Have been tonight's podcast brought to you by Fighting with My Family. Maybe we should be careful saying that. And so Brock is now in talks to re-sign his contract with WWE. It's been rumored that's going to happen. Not shocked. It seemed too good to be true, and they were like, "Oh, Brock's leaving WWE." I was like,
I've seen many.
I'm never getting rid of him.
I've seen many sources that said like it would not be wise for AEW to make an offer because no matter what, they wouldn't be able to afford him.
Tony Khan's chomping at the bit though for that.
But no matter what offer Tony Khan makes, Vince will raise. There's no way. I highly even doubt that Brock would go to AEW. He knows how much he can milk
Chris
Vince
Jericho
for.
apparently was like, "Well, maybe we should sign him." I was like, "It's not a matter of if you should or shouldn't. It's a matter if you can."
Mm-hmm.
And God knows that Vince McMahon has more money than God. So, but yeah, he's coming back. I guess I don't know at some point. I think you said that it's talked about that he's not going to come back till WrestleMania though. So
Yeah,
I don't even know if this is like if he were to come back.
Yeah, they're already trying to figure out what his return match would be. Whether it would be him versus Drew McIntyre or him versus Randy Orton, depending on how Clash of Champions works. And I guess anything before WrestleMania. I think I saw Edge's name also thrown in there. Because I know they're planning on bringing him back into the mix.
Edge comes back and he's not fighting Randy. I understand how much I complain about people like fighting the same people over and over. If Edge comes back and he doesn't fight Randy and just like win his honor back just a little bit,
I don't want to see him.
I don't want anything to do with it.
I don't want to see him fight Randy. I don't know.
But what if he punts Randy?
After the greatest wrestling match ever, you can't have that same matchup again. Unless it's for a title.
The greatest wrestling match ever, part 2. We'll see. Hey, they did scrap every single plan that they had for WrestleMania, so starting from
that makes me
one.
That makes me excited that they kind of scrapped everything because kind of knowing how the dots were plotted out and how Drew was supposed to lose at Clash of Champions or was supposed to lose at Payback, Randy's supposed to be champion, then fight for his title against Edge. I like the surprise. I don't like. I mean, it's my fault for reading the news in the first place, but I don't. I kind of like the spontaneity in all of it.
I think that Drew's slated to lose it now at Clash of Champions, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's the new plan. Which what is a plan when it comes to anything pertaining to Raw?
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure that's how it's supposed to go. At least we have, because it seems like we all kind of know how the WWE Championship storyline is plotted out. At least we have the Universal title to surprise us, because right now there's like no path that we have in front of us. My guess is John Cena will be the one to take it from Roman. I don't know when.
Oh, we've got stuff to talk about actually with that too. It's weird for how little happened tonight. There's so much stuff that I want to talk about. Yeah. We get through this next piece of news that isn't the piece of news you think it is. So you told me I was gonna use something you told me earlier as like a joke, because you said that there was an article saying that Demi Burnett also does not know what she's doing on Raw.
Yeah.
And I was that's a funny thing to say, especially if Mike's on, because I've seen his tweets about it.
Mm-hmm.
Saw a different article concerning Demi. Nothing to do with Retribution, before anyone says anything.
Was it kind of finally revealing the purpose of having Demi on?
No. It was actually in fact it was someone asked her, like a reporter asked her, I think I saw this on Wrestle Talk. A reporter asked her, "Would you want to be a wrestler?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, I'd love to, but like I'd have to train a lot." And I was like,
Yeah.
the only person that is your shape is Casey Catanzaro. And I'm pretty sure Casey Catanzaro does not have organs. I think it's just all muscle and a very sweet little face underneath.
She's a cat in a skin suit.
Exactly. I don't quite see that with Demi. I don't want to be mean.
I mean,
Gonna
look,
be a little mean.
they've been popping off with these debut matches, with these unexpected matchups. I'm sure they could form something out of her. I don't think they will, considering that they literally said, because I saw an article that said that like revealed her purpose there, and it's literally just cross promotion. That's literally all it is.
Okay. But the thing is that it's like I can't think of any good excuse right now, but like, for example, how is it cross promotion if it's not like she's not on the show anymore on The Bachelor? You told me that she's not.
Yeah.
I can't verify, but I trust you. She's not on The Bachelor anymore, and they rarely say, "Oh, Demi Burnett from The Bachelor is still here." For some reason,
they still say that, but you tune it out. Understandably so.
I think that's because whenever she's on, I'm always just like, why?
Yeah, no, it's cross promotion because if they can't get anyone from The Bachelor, despite there not being a season going on right now, so no matter who they get, it would be somebody not on The Bachelor. And
rejected by The Bachelor. I don't think I'd be going on shows promoting The Bachelor. I'd be like spiteful as hell about that.
I mean, regardless of who they get, they're still shouting out The Bachelor.
I need to angle this down. I feel like I'm making my room look like a cavern. I'm like seeing like the line of my ceiling. I'm like, small. So yeah, I read that and I was like, the way she phrased her response did not sound like she was like previously training to be a wrestler, or she wrestled when she was like younger, or was in indie promotions or something like that. It was, oh yeah, it sounds like it'd be fun. Like in the same way that I'd be like, yeah, I want to have a match with Corey Graves. I don't know how to wrestle.
I think,
man, I'd love to throw a punch.
Realistically, I think the answer was just like, she can't say no because then she's bad talking wrestling. She has to say yes, but has to kind of give a reason why she can't.
If she was like, no, ew, that's disgusting.
Yeah. Like, if you say no, what's going to be your reasoning? Something self-deprecating?
Icky men touching each other. Ooh. Women. Oh.
Angel Garza just standing in the corner like, okay.
Angel Garza's wife is standing in another corner just like, the Yankees game on over here. We're doing good. Anywho, let's get into the sad news. Part of.
That the Mets lost?
I don't know if it's... is that news?
No. That's every day, baby. Except yesterday when we beat the Yankees. Anyway, yes. Last piece of news. Yeah, R.I.P. Tom Seaver.
Yes. I can't make a mean comment about that.
Yeah, I would hope not.
Imagine. So I guess Vince has come out to claim that he, more or less, owns literally every single aspect of any person in the WWE or injured and not within the WWE but still signed to contracts. From their face to their name to their entire life. It's basically like a Seinfeld episode where Kramer sold his entire life to have a book written about him. They were like, oh, you can't tell that story anymore. It's not yours.
Mm-hmm.
That's what this feels like. He said that I couldn't find the quote right now. I don't feel like looking it all up, but essentially he said he wants people who are using third-party platforms to using their likeness and their name on third-party platforms like Twitch and Cameo to cease doing so within the next 30 days or face
termination,
retribution. Sorry.
You finish. You finish.
He was basically saying that like they were using their likeness and name to, in a way that was detrimental to the company, and I was like, I watch a lot of wrestlers' streams and like YouTube channels and basic stuff. I've never been like, oh, this depicts the WWE in a bad light.
Mm-hmm. You know, while we were setting up the podcast, I saw kind of a development on that case. It's basically Vince and WWE, or rather, I think a board of investors wants to set up like their own way to interact with fans, kind of in the same way the Thunderdome has been doing, but like kind of a direct route to the wrestlers for fans to interact. That is done through WWE rather than through the individual wrestlers. Leaving the wrestlers with just a sliver of the cut they would be making off Twitch and stuff like that. And the whole article is, or the whole story is kind of being over exaggerated because all it means is just they can't use their names. Their real names are not owned. Their faces are not owned. It's just unless you're like Lindsay Dorado and you're building your gear on stream, they just need to change their account names to their real names or something else. Like Adam Cole's fine. He's Chugs. Paige had to change. Mia Yim had to change. The only one I am really concerned about, surprisingly, is Swerve. Because he's got the Swerve City podcast. He has to change that whole name and like rebrand. And sorry, I just have one last thing. His whole wrestling name is Isaiah Swerve Scott, so he can't even make it the Isaiah Scott podcast. He has to change it.
And that goes. The thing that worried me the most, I think, was that like Xavier Woods with Up Up Down Down. Xavier tweeted. He kind of made like a passive aggressive tweet about it.
Yeah.
I was like, well, the whole thing is Up Up Down Down. Your name on there is Austin Creed, which I don't know. I know that he used to wrestle under that. I don't know if there's any ownership or something along the lines of that in WWE. I don't know if they still have like a mark on that or what, but because I've heard of the WWE taking wrestlers in and then owning their old names too, so that older promotions, like the promotions that they used to work for, they can't like use that in any way. Passive aggressive tweet about it, and I was like, well, you don't really. I mean, your whole thing is that like you force the wrestlers that come on your show to choose a different name from what they normally go by. I guess that just means that he can't be like introduces Tyler Breeze like as Prince Pretty. He says like Tyler Breeze, aka Prince Pretty. I guess he can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
He
sounded stressed. I was like, oh, maybe I'm stressed.
I get why he's stressed because it kind of messes with the whole branding of Up Up Down Down. It wouldn't mess with Up Up Down Down like in a whole sense, but he's kind of used that channel as like a continuation of kayfabe because you watch it and you still see wrestlers in their personas. Now, I think this whole ruling is kind of removing the kayfabe aspect from these wrestlers' Twitches and stuff like that, so they are just themselves and they have no choice but to be.
So my confusion, I guess, at the end of the day is, and I guess like there's never been any like confirmation that I've noticed with Woods where it's like made comments about certain things being sponsored, but he does a lot of promotional stuff for WWE in and of itself, which he's done. I have to imagine it's sponsored because, for example, with the Southpaw Regional Wrestling cards that are coming out on the
Supercard
app card, Supercard, he had that before anybody else did. So I don't understand how he would have that access. If what he was doing, if his whole thing was not in some way condoned WWE. So why would he be nervous about this? Why would he be upset about this? Outside of it affecting his friends.
It might
if
be,
that's it, then fine. But like,
it might be. There could be two reasons why he's worried. One could be certain videos of Up Up Down Down have been sponsored by WWE, and thus under that umbrella, like the Southpaw Regional Wrestling video, or this means that WWE is going to have a tighter grip around Up Up Down Down, kind of messing with Woods' control over it.
Maybe they'll try to move in to control significantly more of it than they do now. Because I know it just started as him being like goofy, like in hotels and like on tour and stuff like that, just like kind of taking over a conference room at a hotel to do an Oculus Rift game or whatever.
Also, I want to mention one last thing. DG Games said, I feel like after Zelina used Twitch to forward the Bianca storyline, Vince could have been like, hey, pal, stop it right there. That's an example of using these outlets to push a storyline forward, to use kayfabe. You're going to be completely ruining or pulling away from that venue.
So also the thing is that a lot of people are saying what spurred this to happen is none other than AJ Styles.
The Earth
just
is
recently,
a sphere.
Yeah, let's have one last lap before I get upset about this, because he just started his. Did he just start his Twitch channel? I think he did, right?
he kind of started towards the beginning of quarantine.
I don't know why I thought that he just started it, but it's still relatively new. I guess he very recently, within like, I guess the last few weeks or something, was doing a stream where he talked about having coronavirus in the last month, hating Paul Heyman, and being kind of pissed off about people getting fired. A lot of people are saying that that's why Vince is like, okay, record.
Yeah, I get what he's trying to do, is trying to like save face and be like, and kind of separate the fact that these are people and don't want to connect them directly to the brand, because somehow they're still considered independent contractors, even though they're basically treated like employees. Also, DG Games, he said, Vince sounded so evil, we also own their real names, quote. Like, that they don't actually own their real names. For some reason, it's only in Stephanie McMahon's contract that says that they own her name.
Which is also very weird.
And they were using that as a basis for everyone else. But yes, that is incredibly weird. I guess because she's a McMahon.
Still, like, my father's not going to come through and be like, oh, well, I own Elizabeth's name because we share a last name. It's like, no, I'm a person, actually. I mean, maybe you could say that, like, 6 years ago when I was a minor still, but, like, I'm 24. Stephanie is however goddamn old she is.
Poor,
doesn't make sense. And, like, what's going to happen with Drew Gulak?
Yeah, that's
his name.
That, like, his wrestling name is literally his real name. And which is also his Twitch name. I guess he has to change his Twitch name to just something random like Chugs.
It's like, but
yeah. I wonder what's going to happen with Hornswoggle. I wonder if his name is owned by Vince.
I mean, if he is a child of Vince's.
A legitimate child of Vince McMahon. I hope we never revisit that storyline.
I don't think we could in this day and age, Marcus. I don't think we could.
It's been 14 years. since that story like happened. Yeah, because I was watching the 2006 Royal Rumble earlier today. It was 14 years ago.
I think that somebody born in 2006 is 14 now.
Anyways, I turned 24 yesterday,
passage
so
of time eludes us all. I turned 24 months ago. I was here first.
Okay, well, anyway, shall we continue to the main event?
Bones of a 90-year-old. I always like to say that I look young, but in reality, on the inside of my skin suit is senior citizen bones and muscles.
Oh.
That too. I'm a senior citizen lizard. Shazam. New tape. Can't tell. Well, you can because it would be falling off otherwise.
We had a lot of promos today. A lot of really long promos.
Speaking of really long promos, our tweet. I should do that. We start with Roman Reigns coming out. He's got his title. He's got his Paul Heyman. So I was just standing in the middle of the ring, staring, just looking out. And Heyman is talking, and he doesn't stop talking actually for minutes, I think. It felt like 10 minutes. Just chatting, some nasty stuff. Brought up Roman Reigns' battle with leukemia, which I said,
oh, like
really no limits.
I mean, he brought it up in a way that's like, this man fought a deadly disease.
True.
Like, he's a stronger man because of it. And not like Jeff Hardy's DUIs and like junkie.
God bless. Anyways, Paul's talking for a while. Finally, talking. He hands the microphone off to Roman, who has not changed his facial expression the entire damn time. If you didn't have sound on, and if we were not in the Thunderdome, I would have thought your TV froze. He was solid.
I like this Roman though. I like this. I really like this.
He's stoic as hell. So he's doing a new thing that also just like annoys the hell out of me, where he gets a new shirt and then recites what that shirt says in the middle of his speeches, sort of like when like you're watching a movie and they say the title of the movie and you're like,
what are we, some kind of wreck everyone and leave?
he was talking about Clash of Champions, I think, and he's like, I'm gonna show up, I'm gonna win. And I was like, I get it, because your shirt says that. You didn't have to, because literally your shirt is just bold white print that says that. There was no guessing. Am I still going to buy a wreck everyone and leave shirt? Absolutely.
Or are you going to buy a show up and win shirt?
No. There's no victory guaranteed in this body, Marcus. I will come in, I will destroy everything. Winning is not promised.
Mm-hmm.
Under any circumstance.
Roman 316. Now I just want to see Roman versus Stone Cold.
You're going to see that because they broke Stone Cold.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that promo lasts about 591 years. So, okay, sorry. Just had to retweet the tweet.
Mm-hmm.
So then we go backstage. We've got Roman walking with Paul. They're having a good time. They're just hanging out. They're two buds now. Best friends. And then speaking of best friends, we then have Jey Uso come out. And I said, no.
To me,
no.
We'll get more in depth with this storyline later. But I think this whole story is kind of like a double-edged sword. I love the path they're taking with Jey Uso. but I don't like that they're kind of solidifying the fact that tag teams are kind of just like a transitional phase.
I don't think that they would be treating it like that if it weren't for Jimmy, I think, who is genuinely injured.
Mm-hmm.
I think SmackDown is just kind of weird right now when it comes to tag teams because a lot of the tag teams are fractured because of injury.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, like, what else they can really do besides maybe like, I don't know, smack bit. Well, never mind. That was gonna be a poorly timed comment. Say it, but anyways.
I mean, they could always just like have a singles person or have somebody team up with Jey Uso to make like a new tag team in the meantime. Like I said, I think that this story is going to end up going great places. But I just don't like kind of the low place they're putting tag teams.
Well, I think to that effect, it's sort of like if you were to film something and like your one actor calls in and they're like, yo, dude, I'm like hella sick. I can't come in today. You're not going to be like, well, I guess I'm just going to take this guy from over here and this guy from over here, and I'm just going to stack them together and see what happens.
That's literally what you do. You recast.
He's like sick for the day. I'm not saying he's dead.
You reschedule.
You reschedule because one guy can't come in.
If it's like a
the rest
lead
of your cast
actor,
is there and you reschedule.
You're not going to rewrite a whole scene just because your actor can't be there.
Right, that's what I'm saying. You're not going to rewrite a whole scene just because your actor can't be there that day.
And that's what WWE's doing. They're kind of rewriting the script because Jimmy Uso's injured.
I think, but they're doing it in a way that's more doesn't conflict with anything that they could have possibly been doing with the Usos.
Right, yeah. I mean, I don't even
saying like, put these two together, you know?
I would assume if the Usos were still around, they'd be doing the same thing that Lucha House Party's doing. Or they'd probably be doing the same thing that Jay is doing right now, but rather it would be Jimmy just kind of hanging out on the sidelines, or Jimmy and Jay having beef with Roman.
I don't know why they don't just bring Jimmy back and they're not just like, stand on the sides and cheer your brother on.
Jimmy's probably like, I don't want to be back until I have to.
That's awesome. I know I'm never going to get another day off. So we have Jey Uso, and Roman backstage run into each other. Roman sends Paul away. Paul's like, okay. And I was like, all right, sure. Jay's like, hey, I see you're rolling with kind of a bad crowd. Like, this is like some like teen sitcom from the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
I see that you're hanging out with some bad people. Like, you good?
Mm-hmm.
And like, don't worry, man. I got this. I got this all under control. Sort of like in Saved by the Bell when Jessie does a ton of Adderall and loses her shit. Everyone's like, hey, are you cool? And she's like, I'm so fine right now. And I got everything under control. Don't worry. Everything's going to fall into place. And Jay's like, your mother. Right now. The moment I get back to that locker room, I'm calling her. Something has gone wrong.
Yeah, I like how they're kind of treating Roman carefully. It's not just like, oh, he's a heel. He's going to snap on everybody. Because they've done that before. It's more of...
So far, he's only attacked heels.
Yeah, he's kind of like an anti-heel. But also, like, we know because he's with Paul Heyman, he's going to be a heel. But it's also a heel that kind of knows who his friends are.
I'm more interested to see how it's going to go after tonight's episode, because they could do something nice with this. They could do something very interesting with this.
I mean, we've said that before.
But before I give all that away,
we said that before about the Fiend and Braun, and see where that's taken us.
Do that to me.
Remember when we were supposed to get Sister Abigail at SummerSlam?
Sir, may I have a little hope, please?
No.
Just a crumb. A crumb of optimism. Then we have Miz and Morrison versus Heavy Machinery. Why? I mean, I know why, but why? Otis gets Miz into a waist lock and tosses him. Does it a second time. The thing that you're thinking of, the promo, doesn't happen.
No. We should mention that this match was the winner of this challenges Cesaro and Shinsuke for the SmackDown Tag Team titles.
Glad you mentioned it because I certainly did not catch that.
Oh, you didn't? That's why I said that Otis is definitely not going to use the contract for the tag team title now.
Do together. So as Otis goes for a third waist lock, Miz sends a nasty little elbow to his head and then pops him around a bit. Is then taken immediately out by a shoulder tackle from Otis. Otis gets Tucky in. They team up, send some forearms straight into Miz's body. Johnny finally gets in. Tucky just kind of throws him to the ground. And they're grappling for a little bit. And then Tucky, the biggest arm drags I think I've seen in like a minute now, just like grabs him from the air, just launches him. And that's not the last time that Morrison's going to be just rocketed around. Otis gets back in, and Tucky throws Morrison into the corner. And then Otis, when he tries to run out of the corner, Otis gets him with his forearms. Morrison just helicopters away like a sweet little sapling off of a maple tree. Then Otis picks him up. Nice little back body drop. Miz comes in. Kind of just, and Tucky pick Miz and Morrison up and just kind of slam them together, spine first. We then have the Miz versus Tucky. Morrison rolls in and they kind of try to double team Tucky, but it's not really, it doesn't work. Otis gets in, he bulldozes the Miz and Morrison and shoulder tackles Morrison. And then he quite literally spikes John Morrison into the ground. He takes the Miz off the apron, but the Miz dodges him and sends him straight into the post. Then John Morrison gets a nice running knee to Otis, and the Miz gets in, kicks him in the face. Otis dodges the Miz, sends Morrison out of the ring. Otis tries to tag Tucky in, but Morrison pulls him off the apron. Because he didn't take too much fall damage, I guess. So he just him off. He hits his face on the side of the apron, and Morrison's just like looking up all cheerful, like, now what?
He literally says, he looks up at the Miz and is like, now what?
I'm in love with him. He's a dummy.
Yeah.
The Miz is then kicking Otis, but it doesn't really, it just makes him angrier. Otis suplexes the Miz, then suplexes Morrison, throws both of them into the corner in what is probably the longest setup in the world, because you see John Morrison like positioning himself to be in front of the Miz while Otis splashes them in the corner. And then he does the worm and an elbow drop to the Miz because John Morrison ran out of there. And he jumps off the top rope in the corner, kind of frog splashes the Miz, and they win. And then Johnny takes the briefcase and runs off, because I guess that's how that works. Sure.
They literally said like it doesn't mean anything if he just runs off with it. Also, a lot of people are talking about the contract possibly expiring before Otis can use it.
How long does it? Oh, well, probably until the next Money in the Bank.
Maybe before then. I don't know. I have a feeling since we've seen it so much now, we've seen it like actively used in matches and promos, he's probably going to cash in soon.
Especially because like we haven't seen Heavy Machinery in a little bit.
Yeah.
So I imagine they might be setting up for something, especially with so many people coming back. Or having been announced today. Sort of. We'll get to that. So then we have the second heartbreak of the night. We got Drew Gulak wearing a sweet little party hat. And Big E, balloons. They got a cake. It's a house party. I guess they're getting along again because they try to steal the cake together. They are caught by Drew Gulak and Big E, who Drew says, Drew's just like, hey, who do you think you are? Something like that. And I was like,
oh god. I love how we're seeing like Drew Gulak everywhere on SmackDown now. I love it.
And then I think this is just because Big E delivered his lines kind of like poorly. I just think like the pacing of them was wrong. He said, well, Xavier's back. And I said, and then much more quietly, he says, talking smack. And I was like, we were supposed to be celebrating his birthday. He didn't even show up.
I thought we'd at least see him in like a promo or something. Also, I just realized Xavier Woods, his birthday's right after mine.
Oh, you're like, of course, like, you and your almost birthday twin it's you and Xavier Woods. Mine's Bray Wyatt.
Perfect. That's kind of exactly how this relationship is.
Just not fair.
But
my actual birthday twin is Daniel Bryan, so.
Is who?
Daniel Bryan.
Oh yeah. My birthday twins are Shawn White and Rich Bryan.
Neither of them are wrestlers, Mark.
I know. And the closest one is Xavier Woods.
Oh, I'll have to do a deeper dive. I think you share a birthday with someone. Probably. Wrestlers?
I mean, I can look it up while you finish talking about this promo.
Sure, why not? So I got excited. I really thought that we would at least like see like his face somewhere. Maybe him just peeking around a corner. Didn't get that. Instead, the security is like, "Oh, Xavier's here," and I was like, "Hell yes!" The moment that Big E walks outside, I was like, "Oh no, this camera angle's too tight. It's not Xavier." Instead, it was Sheamus attacking Big E, sends the cake onto the ground. Kicks E, and then slams him into a car multiple times head first, and then gets him around his neck like a little mink coat and drops him back into the windshield. And then Big E is so broken. I can hear myself when I'm talking, and it's throwing me off so bad.
Can you?
Yes.
Oh, it's probably through my headphones. Because Discord is very sensitive. I don't have a noise filter like I do on Streamlabs.
Okay. I think I can hear myself now. Oh, no, I can't. Crap.
You can? Really?
Yeah. Very gentle echo. I talk a little quietly, or I don't. So that happens. It sucks because you're like, oh, not only do I not get Xavier, but now I get a very, very dismantled Big E. Wasn't really what I was asking for tonight. In fact, I was asking for quite the opposite of that. I was really hoping for like, friends back together. Oh, maybe.
Sure, we'll get that soon. Now that Big E's in the hospital.
It's just all three of them in rehab together.
It's like that picture that Randy Orton showed of all the people he punted.
So upsetting. So incredibly upsetting. Anyways, we go to commercial and we come back to Big E is dead. Talking to Sheamus. And my dear God, if there is one thing I'm going to ask of the wrestlers from the greater United Kingdom area, is simply to just the amount of time you talk in half, because then it'll still probably be a long promo.
Mm-hmm.
The longest promo I've ever had to sit through.
So I looked up for wrestlers that were born on September 3rd, and there were 4. None of them I really know. We got Pat Hoad. He's a singer, sports commentator, professional wrestler. Then we have Bob Evans, professional wrestler from Massachusetts. Iana Ringer, actor, professional wrestler. And then we have Butcher Brannigan,
I've heard of Butcher Brannigan.
who has passed away.
Well, it's the best of us. I think my birthday, I think Drew Gulak and I are pretty close in birthdays. I know my Gemini birthday fellas, and that's Bray Wyatt, Drew,
No.
and Seth.
You are not close to Drew
No.
Gulak. He's April 28th.
I confuse my Drew Gulaks and my Drew Galloways. Anywho, what's you can. It's funny. That's why I'm sitting for the back now.
Drew McIntyre is June 6th.
No, he's a stupid June boy. I think Seth's May baby. Oh yeah, Sheamus is backstage. He's sweaty. I think he's like May 28th, right?
Yeah.
Geminis have to stick together, babe. He's just talking a lot. He's like, I had to do it, who cares? I guess, I didn't set this up, but it might be the second time I've smashed somebody into the front end of this silver car. He's like any other car. They really could have. No, same silver car that killed Jeff Hardy and Goliath. The moment you think it's over, the moment you think it's done, Sheamus walks out of frame. He comes back. He's like, well, guess it's going to be a triple threat match. I was like, if you don't take those stupid-ass suspenders off, I swear to God. Hence nostril flare. And then the beginning of the end, we had Sasha and Bayley backstage, acting incredulous that, they're being asked, is your friendship okay? Since, things seems to have gone wrong for you guys in the last 2 weeks. And they're like, yes, of course it is. It's fine. It's so fine right now. It's so fine. We're so fine. Speaking of Geminis. Gemini. And that's where it is. Then we have Adam Pearce backstage. Adam Pearce has been getting so much extra time on camera recently, and I don't know why. But so has Pat Buck is back there now too.
I think Adam Pearce is kind of giving a way for everyone to see what goes on behind the scenes of the WWE, without having to wrestler just happens to be back there. No, it's like we kind of get the goings on, especially with Retribution being around and how they're kind of messing with the behind the scenes. I
think the thing is also, it's they used to have Braun's flipping trucks over in the garage right now, and there's a couple of officials and guys in suits being like, hey, Braun, don't do that. That used to be the case, and because of coronavirus, they were just stage is a desolate, empty land. There's no one back there. So Adam Pearce is talking to Kayla. And Aaron Boone's about to get thrown out of a baseball game. And she's like, hey, do you know anything that's going on? Because Big E was taken to the local medical center, local medical facility.
Yeah.
It is often referred to.
LMF.
The LMF, if you will. And like, oh, we don't know. Like, we know Big E's definitely not doing it, but we're gonna find someone. And I was like, Xavier Woods. They said, no, here's Paul Heyman. And Paul drags Adam off and is like, I want to talk to you. I want to talk to you. I was like, all right. Now let's get into the worst moment that I've ever spent months hoping would happen. We just dive right into the deep end on this one.
Sure.
Bayley and Sasha walk out. Bayley looks sad as hell. Michael Cole introduces Nia Jax and doesn't quite introduce Shayna. He just says, and Nia's partner, who just likes to hurt people. That's probably an astute observation about Shayna.
That's better than a name you could have given her.
It's more appropriate. As the fight begins, they get Cesaro and Shinsuke. I don't know why.
Tag team
champions. They're also... Well, basically, they're like, oh, they're also tag team champions. Like, that's yeah, sure. Makes sense. They've got nothing else going on. They've just been drinking champagne for the last 3 weeks. So. Shinsuke makes a poorly timed joke about Big E getting slammed into a car. And then Cesaro decides to drop a little reference to Up, Down, Down, which I want to fight Cesaro so badly sometimes. Anytime he does a promo like this, I'm just like, God damn it, you stupid bald bitch. So Nia immediately tags herself in. Shayna looks kind of pissed off about it. They start fighting. Bayley and Sasha take advantage of the moment to attack the two. They both try to baseball slide into Nia and Shayna, and then Nia and Shayna catch them and decide to sink in quite a beautiful way, mind you. Ragdoll the girls into the barricade. Then it is Shayna in. There's a high knee in the corner to Bayley from Shayna. Nia tags herself, or Nia gets tagged in and tries to cover. Bayley kicks. Bayley is then in the corner again with Nia hip attacking her incessantly. Gets her into a shoulder sub, and then she starts powering out, starts standing up. Nia just launches Bayley into the post. Bayley gets in. Some high knees in the corner to Bayley. Gets her into a hammerlock submission. She's just focusing on the arm in a way that I never want Shayna Baszler to focus on any part of my body. Help me God. I know for a fact that my ligaments are not that strong, and they would probably break in half immediately. Nia gets back in. She's once more going after Bayley. Sasha tries her best to get in. She distracts Nia, allowing Bayley to take her leg out, and she can get Sasha in. Sasha does a less than impressive head scissors, gets some high kicks on Nia, her little double knees in the corner, and then does a Meteora. She covers, but Nia kicks Sasha into the stratosphere. She kicks out. Then knees Shayna and sends another one over to Nia for good measure. She dodges Nia, sending her out of the ropes. And she manages to get a suplex off the apron. And Shayna gets back in, and Sasha's making her look like she's a wet rag. She suplexes her. She sends a sliding knee into her face. Sasha then sends Shayna into the corner and Bayley in, and they're just stomping her out like a fire. Try to do their like little team power bomb into the canvas. Shayna powers out of that. Still manages to get two nice little knees in the back by Sasha. Bayley tries to do her little drop elbow off the top rope. Kind of where I assumed that the first spark was lit. Allowing Bayley to do that move. Sasha covers on Shayna. And Shayna kicks out, but that means now Bayley has to actually tag in to do the move. She does get tagged in. She does successfully get a drop elbow into Shayna's ribs. However, Shayna still kicks. Sasha's back in. Is finally starting to come back to after being suplexed. Another drop elbow into Shayna's ribs on the apron. The worst noise I think I've ever heard on.
Yeah.
Shayna dodges a running knee from Sasha.
It wasn't just a running knee. It was like a running, jumping knee. Double knee.
It was a flying high knee. And in first into the post. And it made the most god-awful cracking sound. It was like, oh no, is she actually hurt? Could I get some clarification here, folks? Is it shattered? So she's still working hard. She pulls Shayna against the top ropes, kind of chokes her out a little bit. Shayna finally dodges another set of double knees. I don't think is the best choice for Sasha at this hour, but whatever. Sending Sasha now is first into the other side of the post. Maybe this wouldn't have been so bad if they hadn't kept re-showing that shin bone going straight into the outside of the post, but they did. They said, milk that. Shayna is then almost counted out while she's trying to get a leg submission on Sasha because her shoulders are down while she's working on it. She kicks out, punches Bayley off the apron just for good measure, and then goes back to work on Sasha. Sasha tries to get Shayna into a submission hold. Nia jumps in with the gentlest little knee to the back of the head. It was just like a little bunk, tap, tap. And Nia tries to suplex her, or drop her in some way. Sasha wriggles out, rolls Nia up. Nia kicks. Sasha goes up to the top rope. Nia goes to the top rope with Sasha in arms. And Bayley pulls her off. And it tries to interfere, but they manage the team powerbomb successfully, and Shayna goes straight into the canvas. Nia checks crossbodies both Bayley and Sasha, and Nia and Shayna win. So I said, my prediction here was that, because Sasha was looking like a little pissed off towards the beginning of this match, I was like, okay, so what's probably going to happen here is Sasha's probably going to just walk off or something, leaving Bayley all alone. That's not what happened. In fact, I left this match thinking, I guess we're not going to see anything important tonight. And then they came back from commercial break. And the Smackdown writer said, did you want something from us? Did you want a thing? I said, not like that. Not quite like that.
Yeah, this made me very sad. I was genuinely really concerned.
I didn't even know if I was concerned. It just it hurt.
Yeah.
It hurt me. It hurt my soul.
I feel like we got a monkey's paw.
It's a story, but
we got a monkey's paw thing. You want them to break up? Okay, here's Bayley beating the shit out of Sasha. And you know what? You know what this might lead to? Sasha challenging Bayley.
Sad for a couple more weeks.
Sasha challenging Bayley at Clash of Champions for the SmackDown title.
These are the types of things that you need to say before we start the podcast, because holy shit. Right. My God. That'll be sick.
Yeah.
Dude, Bayley performed dog poo-poo today.
Well, it was written in. So
so real quick, just to everyone up to speed, I didn't write down all the details of what happened here. It was pretty bad. Basically, Sasha's in the middle of the ring when we come back from commercial. She's like in pain, like writhing around because her shin bone is apparently broken. They're trying to work on her, and she's like, "No, get away from me." And Bayley's like, "Hey, come on, let's walk out of here. Let's go together." And she's like, "Okay," like all sad. And then Bayley just attacks her out of nowhere. And I thought, oh, she's just gonna like punch her a couple times and that's gonna be the end of the story. No. She brutalized her.
he gets a chair.
Went from it went from being thrown into the stairs to being choked out by a steel chair, which
Not only choked out, but putting her head in between the seat and the backrest of a folding chair, jumping off the ropes onto the legs of it so it clamps down on her. That was brutal. And there was one point where Bayley even like looked at Michael Cole and was like, "Is this what you wanted? Is this what you wanted, Michael Cole?" And at one point you could see Michael Cole just like cringing in like disgust at what he was seeing.
Because like again, I know that this is all written and I know that this is just really good performing. The thing is that doesn't make it any easier to watch.
Right.
Circumstance whatsoever. It looked horrible. So the collateral damage of like going knee first into the back of a metal chair to bear trap your partner's neck.
No, she
also not a feeling I want to exist.
She didn't go knee first. She landed with her feet.
Worse. It was just like, it was something I wanted for so long. And I guess I did not understand the implications of wanting something like that.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I thought this was like an amazingly well done segment. Bayley looked like insane. She looked like crazy-eyed. Yeah. And Sasha, I mean, she looked like a helpless victim. But the fact that it was like completely silent while all this was going on, minus like some refs on the side and Bayley just like telling them all to shut up. This was like perfect. This was like the perfect way. I mean, a little more brutal, but the perfect way that they could have reached the climax of this storyline.
It's very much like watching like a horror movie where you're like, don't do that. Mm-hmm. That's bad. That's a bad thing to do.
Yeah, it's
continue to do it 10 times and you're like,
have you seen Cabin in the Woods?
I've seen that several times.
Yeah, it's like how when they go to like the lab and you kind of expect like, oh, they'll run into the scientists and stuff, but then they run into like every single horror movie monster that's ever existed.
Yep. It really was for Smackdown especially an incredibly well done piece, yeah. I guess to call it that. My God, like I wanted them to break up. You can any SmackDown podcast, any Raw podcast, honestly. Time I'm just saying, when is this gonna end?
Yeah.
And then they said, here's the ending you wanted. And I said, no, not like this.
And like, even during the fight, I asked you, like, I wonder who's going to turn like face here. Because we have two pretty much heel tag teams going after each other. I think we have our answer now. Sasha's going to become the face. Bayley's going to double down on being a heel.
Can we please go back to the last, what was it? Like it was less than a year ago now, I think. And Bayley's whole thing was, I'm a hugger.
Also, this would be like
quality of man.
This would be the perfect spot for Charlotte Flair to come in and be like, hey Sasha, I knew from the start that you didn't deserve Bayley, so let's kind of get away from this. Let's become a tag team or something.
Charlotte is by no means a face at this time,
Yeah.
but like the glamour of the two of them together.
And I mean, they were both part of the Four Horsemen, or the Horsewomen, and I think it would go really well. You have both of them wanting to be winners really badly. Charlotte Flair is like a big winner. Sasha is too, and I think the two of them would do great in tag teams and could also venture out doing single stuff like Bayley and Sasha had been doing. I think it'd be perfect.
So I do want to bring up a point. Maybe I'll save this point for when the promo comes along. But I just want you to remember in this moment the two titles that are on the line.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that you have a good not to use the word 14 times in one sentence, a good point when you say that Sasha could easily challenge Bayley for that title because she's got to defend the title at Clash of Champions, and who better than her?
But to that point, Mike said Sasha shouldn't be back for a long while, which makes sense given that she was like on death's doorstep. Who knows if she'll be back in time?
There's a couple things I do want to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Not until promo comes up. Now we've got, if Mike's right, if Sasha's out for a while, if we don't see her until after Clash, who's challenging Bayley for that title?
Naomi.
We have a tag team, fair, but we have a women's tag team title that's also on the line.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the questions start. I won't answer them just yet.
Okay.
Go, if you have an answer.
Well,
if you have an answer.
I just know that I read an article saying that they're going to severely push Naomi, like push her farther than they've pushed like any women's wrestler. Which is saying a lot.
When you say severely, it sounds like they're going to severely push her off a ledge.
Yeah, push her off a cliff.
They're going to just eat her.
Push her to the moon.
It's not even NXT. Oh, God. I'm getting a headache now. Speaking of headaches. Zayn. Stupid dum-dum.
The most perfect man in the world.
It's just amazing how lovely he seems, and then he plays Sami Zayn, and you're like...
You gotta watch like the behind the scenes video WWE put out today of Sami Zayn, because there's just like there's a moment in it where he's back on like the show floor, and he's talking to the camera, turns and just stops what he's doing and goes, "Oh hey," sees like Sasha Banks and gives her like a really big hug. The same thing happens like 5 minutes later, but with Bayley.
I love him. And it's also kind of funny to me because like he plays such a massive heel.
Mm-hmm.
He comes out and he's not introduced as the Intercontinental Champion. And he's pissed about that. He yells at Greg Hamilton about it, who time Greg Hamilton's had a line in like months. And he's like, why didn't you introduce me as this? And he's like, well, it wasn't in my notes. He's like, okay, so who's the stage manager tonight? And he's like, is it Evan? I was like, okay, so you're this massive heel. But you somehow know the stage manager's name. Half the time, the heels are like talking to like, interviewers that they talk to every week. And they're like, what's your name again? Sami Zayn's out here like, I know everyone's name.
Yeah, I think he's just yelled at the stage manager so much that he just knows his name by now.
He's like, it's easier if I know your name to call you out. So he talks to Evan through a headphone set, and apparently it's not on Evan's notes either that he's supposed to be called the Intercontinental Championship title holder. So Jeff Hardy comes out, and Jeff Hardy's just talking, and I don't really care what Jeff Hardy's saying. It's just him arguing that, like, Sammy's not the title holder anymore. He needs to get over it. And AJ comes out in OC gear. I mean, AJ's been wearing all blue recently, and now he's suddenly wearing a lot of red.
at the
And I'm
same
like,
time as rumors that he'd be moving to Raw because of Paul Heyman.
mm, mm.
I
It was a funny little thing.
I threw out a theory while we were watching. He's gonna fight Sami Zayn. He's probably gonna beat Sami Zayn. The match would be in for a contender to fight Jeff Hardy for the title. It would be AJ versus Sammy. AJ wins, fights Jeff. AJ loses, goes to Raw. Because it's always like there's a title match. Loser goes to the other brand.
I mean, that does happen a lot. I wouldn't be shocked.
Mm-hmm.
It was just like one of those things where like you don't notice these things, like you don't notice the consistencies until suddenly there's an inconsistency, and you're like, that's not the color you wear.
Yeah.
So yeah, Jeff comes out, AJ comes out. We're talking. We're just chatting. We're not happy with each other, but we're chatting. Sami Zayn voices every thought I've had for SmackDown for like the last however many months. When he screams, "What's going on around here? Is everyone going crazy?"
Yes.
Like, actually, you know what? Let's pause here. Let's actually answer that question, folks, please.
It's always the heels that are most right.
Either.
Like Corbin, for example.
Dude. Corbin. My boys. So AJ attacks Jeff. Sammy's like waiting for his moment. He's like, I'm gonna get in there. He tries, and then he gets kicked in the back of the head. Sammy finally gets back up though, kicks Jeff Hardy. Then he super kicks AJ as well, and then he grabs his title and just vamonos back home. He's off like the little rat he is. And then everything happened all at once. This last half hour of SmackDown was the most stressful half hour, and it was not because of the match. Like they wanted to hold off on commercial breaks for so long that they were like, here's 14. And I was like, oh my god. They introduced Matt Riddle. And then they go to commercial. Mind you, after coming back from commercial. And then during this commercial break, normally I try not to talk about commercial breaks because it's not important. During commercial break, we get a completely, you wouldn't realize it was for SmackDown unless like realized, I guess. First I thought it was gonna be like one of those phone sex lines. I don't know why. So the commercial is like this lady, I assume.
Oh yeah.
Lovely little leggies.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's got lovely legs. She's wearing some really nice heels. She's got a fur coat. She doesn't look like she's wearing pants. I was like, oh, well, I mean, it's not that late, but like maybe it's that late. I know this is Fox. I don't know why they would be advertising these channels this early in the night. But then I realized it was a promo for somebody returning to WWE. And nobody has a goddamn clue who the hell it is. I tried to look for like a real answer, and I've gotten at least 4 different names.
I'm gonna stand by that. I believe it's Charlotte Flair because now would be the perfect time for her to return. It's been long enough after her plastic surgery. She should be back and ready to wrestle now. I mean, she's done a lot of photo shoots in the meantime, so she's looking good. And her legs aren't like as, I know you said like she feels like she would have like more muscular, bulkier legs, but no, she has surprisingly skinny legs.
Slender, if anything.
Slender, yeah.
Sure, whoever legs those are, they could probably still kick our teeth out, which I'd be proud of.
I also
test.
I also just love how people are like, oh, that looks like so and so. It's like it's legs, it's feet. You can't tell who it is.
It's like one of the Twitter responses I saw was like, how can you say it looks like this person? It's just legs. And I was like, things I've heard thrown around are Eva Green, or was it Eva Green? Is that the name?
Eva Green is an actress.
Yeah, that's not who I'm thinking of. Well,
Chelsea
while I try
Green.
to figure that out. Chelsea Green. Eva Marie was the other. God.
Okay.
So there's Chelsea Green, Eva Marie. Some people are saying it might be Carmella repackaged, which frankly I would not mind because I cannot stand the whole Long Island princess thing because I have personal beef with that entire class of human being.
Mm-hmm.
Also, she's not from, or the Staten Island princess, sorry. Even worse.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody from New York who would ever want to pretend to be that unless they were actually that.
I also theorize that it could be not Charlotte Flair, Trish Stratus, because she is trending right now.
It's the one name I didn't see though, which is the thing. I feel like somebody would have said that.
Yeah, I don't know why that's her and Charlotte. They're my two predictions, and they're the only names I haven't seen thrown around. Even though it makes total sense for Charlotte to be that person.
I think the reason people are predicting Eva Marie is because I think it kind of like looked like a white fur coat and white shoes, and the lighting was pink, and Eva Marie's whole thing was white outfit, red hair. I feel like, in theory, mind can equate those things. But I don't really know.
But I feel like if you're going to, because this seems like a big person that they're teasing. Because if it was like a Eva, what's her name? Eva what?
Eva Marie.
Eva Marie, or if it was a Chelsea Green, it wouldn't require like this really mysterious teaser. If it's a Charlotte Flair or a Trish Stratus, absolutely.
I feel like it's. I don't think it's Charlotte, only because it hasn't been gone long enough for them to be like, oh, she's back. Like that. I feel like that would just be Charlotte Flair shows up in a promo. She's only been gone a couple months. I think it's got to be a big person because Keith Lee was kind of a big deal moving over to Raw. Even though his promo, like the commercial that they had playing during SummerSlam was like, for the entire first like 99% of it, it was like anonymous more or less. Like they were like coming to coming to Raw. Then they show his face right at the end.
Mm-hmm.
This wasn't even that. This was, hey, like here's some legs. You do the rest of the work. I'll tell you on Friday. I feel like I'm gonna be disappointed.
If it's not Charlotte or Trish, I will be disappointed no matter what. Because I don't want Carmella. I don't want Eva McGreen. Eva McGreen. That's what Spooch just said. Eva McGreen. I just want Charlotte or Trish.
Trish would be wild. So that said, I want to also mention the idea that this is coming at a time where I don't really know who would challenge Shayna and Nia for the tag team thing. And frankly, if it's going to be someone that hasn't been around for a while and just came back, I wouldn't mind if it's Carmella completely repackaged.
They've already pretty much said, if not straight up, that Liv and Ruby are going to challenge Shayna and Nia.
Well. Oh, wait, that makes sense, because they've got... God damn it, Elizabeth! Oh, God damn it.
And
my dumbass watched Raw this whole week. I watched Raw this week.
Mm-hmm.
I saw that match. Loser leaves. Winner gets a chance at the... God.
And...
I'm gonna punch myself.
What was I going to say? We also have, like, Natalya and Lana now, who also go for it.
Yeah.
And
also, can I just say... Oh, go on.
WWE is probably going to ride out, like, whatever feud we get, they're going to ride that out for months.
That's true. It is also, so Wrestle Talk did mention, could be Carmella, could be Chelsea Green, Tessa Blanchard, who is from, okay, I just clicked an ad, great job. Who was from Impact. Those are the 3 people that they're suggesting. And I also just want to say that Andrew Yang has finally spoken up and says that the WWE not calling the wrestlers independent contractors is ridiculous, and that they should be considered employees.
Andrew
so thank you,
Yang,
Andrew Yang.
like
I'm glad that you're using your time. The Andrew Yang,
the presidential candidate.
I do suppose.
Also,
I would hope that he would have some other introduction otherwise.
Mike Splucha, don't make fun of Lana wrestling. Lana looked great against Mickey James the other day. I thought she looked better than she should have.
I mean, that's one thing to say. I feel like saying that she looked great is a bit much.
Also,
for a 5-second fight.
One thing we're not considering is that it might not be somebody returning, but somebody moving up from NXT.
I mean, that's the thing with Tessa Blanchard. Yeah? Anyways, that's the thing with Tessa Blanchard, is that she would be coming from Impact to WWE. So that's why it could be her. But
Mike, Aaliyah's not moving up.
If it were Chelsea. Imagine. Leaving Robert Stone all alone with Mercedes Martinez. Oh no. But if it were Chelsea Green, she would be coming up from NXT. I don't hope it's not her.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like her that much. She kind of always,
yeah.
Not a fan. Anyways, that was one of 2 people teased. Please stop.
Could also be
fireworks.
Could also be Ronda Rousey.
Yeah, Ronda Rousey dressed up in all diamonds. How about that?
Let's see.
If it is, I guess.
I'm trying to think of some. I'm going through the roster right now, trying to see who it could be. Wouldn't be Jessamine Duke. Vanessa Bourne, I saw.
Imagine it's Jessamine Duke. That's her new shtick.
Complete
180.
Let's see. Thank you, Cletus McFlapjack17A, for the follow.
Lovely name.
Ember Moon's still on the active SmackDown roster.
I do not see that as the case.
Oh yeah, no, definitely not. I'm just saying, like, she's not unassigned or anything. Could be Carmella. Let me see.
It might have been Carmella.
Raw.
As much as it pains me to say that.
Raw, it would be weird for it to be Charlotte, considering it's SmackDown. Now that I'm thinking about it.
Wait, is it coming back to? Is this person coming to Raw or SmackDown?
SmackDown.
I thought it was SmackDown. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm saying it's weird because Charlotte is on Raw, or she's part of the Raw roster.
Oh. Do you want to? I mean, you can keep looking this up. Do you want me to keep going through? Because we do still have the one last match.
Yeah, I'm done looking it up.
Some other weird shit that happened.
Yeah, go for it.
All right. So then we have Heavy Machinery backstage. Otis reveals that he put the contract in his little Money in the Bank lunchbox, and what's in the Money in the Bank suitcases. It's certainly not the contract. Instead, I believe it is meat.
Somebody tell me in the chat whether, like, if this is the longest time a wrestler's gone without using the contract. I'm really curious if anyone's waited this long or longer.
We then have Roman and while we're reading through the answer. taking up your mantle now. I'm just like, let's keep moving. Mostly because I do want to talk about something else that happened. That another weird thing. But Roman and Jay are backstage, and Roman's doing his best Godfather impression, more or less. Just sitting on a couch in the middle of the locker room and talking to Jey Uso and saying, "Hey, you're welcome that Paul got you this spot in the match. That if you win, you'll be facing me at a wrestling match this time." And then he says, "Go prove that you can win this without your brother." And I was like, "Man, what the fuck?"
Roman's being an ass.
And Jay was just like, "Okay." I was like, "Wait, no, be mad. That was mean."
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't a very nice thing to say at all. So Corbin comes out. He's on his stupid chair. He does his best Pepita impression. When Riddle, like, he's like looking at him, like saying whatever he's saying. Corbin's just like, "Put me down, put me down." And I was like, I've heard my cat say that a couple times. And then Sheamus just comes out. He's got no intro music. Jay just appears halfway through. He's attacking Corbin. Sheamus is attacking Riddle. And then we go to commercial.
I have an answer from Splucha. He said Seth waited all the way until WrestleMania before cashing in.
Oh, yeah. I knew that, actually.
Did you?
Yes, I do a lot of Wikipedia surfing in my free time.
So, I guess this is kind of not the worst that's happened.
To be fair, I mean, where is he going to use it right now? No?
On Roman, on Jeff, on Drew. Imagine.
It's not funny. He's in the hospital, Marcus. His jawline is fractured. He can't talk. What's he gonna do?
Could also cash in on Bobby.
Please. Actually, I would pay to see that. And I would actually pay to see that because it would probably happen at a pay-per-view.
Bobby wouldn't be able to full Nelson him since he's so big.
His arms would cushion. So we cut to commercial and then we sort of come back from commercial. It felt like it was still a commercial. I was really just waiting for this to like descend into madness. Firefly Funhouse was not teased in the beginning, was not teased anywhere at any point in time up until it happened. Bray says that he's real sad because he lost his, or the Fiend lost his title, so the Fiend's real sad.
Mm-hmm.
But we're gonna have a special guest joining us at the Funhouse next week.
Mm-hmm.
A brand new friend, as Bray put it. I said,
you know who it is, right?
it's not John Cena.
No. It's Alexa Bliss.
Oh. But he said a brand new friend, so is that Alexa?
Yeah. Alexa hasn't been on Firefly Funhouse at all. Plus, we saw this, I mean,
well, they said brand new friend, so I thought they meant like a brand new person.
Nah, it's definitely Alexa Bliss. We saw the squirrel puppet in the background.
I don't want to talk about the squirrel puppet right now.
Or I think it's a rabbit.
I don't like that. Yeah, Mr. Rabbit or whatever. Because, okay, so I keep saying, I said this several times in recent history, they got like the little Sister Abigail puppet. It would be super creepy if Bray's talking and like just once, you just see her eyes dart over like to one direction.
Maybe like, when Alexa Bliss comes on, the puppet just follows Alexa wherever she goes.
Stop! I don't want that either, though. I just thought like the glutton for punishment. I was like, it would be kind of cool if like just watching Bray and all of a sudden like I just see like her eyes just like move over to like the other side. That would like spook the hell out of me.
Oh yeah.
And instead they say, "Hey, welcome to Backstage with Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross, and Alexa Bliss's 3 dreadlocks now." And then little rabbit puppet just pops up in the background. I was like, no!
I love that.
No, sir!
I love it so much because it's subtle. It's just like in the background. I love it.
And that's what terrifies me. didn't like it, and now I'm gonna have like nightmares.
That's the Bray Wyatt stuff that I love, not like the Fiends just going after titles. I love Bray like having this weird horror show going on.
Yeah, I mean the puppets are so underutilized, like outside of the Firefly Funhouse.
Yeah.
But also don't want to watch Alexa Bliss Fiend Fangirl in the Firefly Funhouse next week. I don't want to see that. It makes me feel really uncomfortable, and I don't like this Alexa Bliss at all. And I know I'm not supposed to, but like I really do not like it. I'm not interested in it. I don't want to see it. I don't want to interact with it. I don't want my eyes to have to absorb the images coming off the TV screen of it. I don't like it. It makes me uncomfortable.
I just want Nikki Cross to stay far away from the storyline. I don't want her to get involved, not for her sake, but just because I'm tired of their whole friendship going back. I know, but I don't want it to happen.
No, it just makes me so uncomfortable. And the dreadlocks, why do they keep, it'd be one thing if they were like, here's one, and now here's like four, and like now she's got like a ton of them. But no, they're just like, and for this episode we do one, and for the next episode we do two, and for this episode we'll do a third. And I'm like,
we know next week she's gonna have all.
Do I really have to? Such nice hair.
I know.
But like, even if, because I know it takes some time to create a dreadlock, especially with somebody that has such fine hair as it looks like she does. That stuff doesn't. I mean, my hair, on the other hand, is so thick that if I don't brush, I have mats. That's a different story. So whatever they're doing, they're like stressing the hair. Not to be that person, but such nice hair, and I am worried that they are destroying it at this hour. Anyways, we finally go back. We remember that we have a match. Corbin is knocked out of the ring pretty quickly. Jey Uso throws Sheamus out of the ring after punching him. Matt Riddle rolls Jey Uso up, sends a knee into Sheamus. Jey then lands a suplex from Riddle. Riddle kind of just like launches him backwards, and he lands on his feet like a little cat. Corbin doesn't care for that. Jumps in. Sorry, I jumped ahead a little bit. Sorry, guys. Corbin pulls Jey out, throws him into the barricade. Sheamus then gets in and does a backbreaker on Riddle. And this is when Corbin says, no. Jumps in. Now it's just two friends, two heels beating up Matt Riddle. And I was like, yeah, I love this. I love this song. There's a spine buster to Riddle from Corbin. Jey interrupts the cover. Corbin and Sheamus are just kind of vibing together. At first I was like, hey, it's the next Sheamus and Bald Guy tag team. Fun stuff. And then Sheamus says, no, not quite though. Not quite. They work together for like a little bit longer. We get to see a nice deep six to Jey Uso from Corbin. But then it's just Sheamus and Corbin, and Sheamus is like, I'll do what I gotta do. Jey Uso then suplexes Sheamus. Sheamus is trying to work Corbin off the apron. Finally drop kicks him, sending him free of the ropes. Sheamus is then just slugging Jay's chest against the ropes. Riddle you could see his like little head popping up over the far side of the apron. And I was like, all right, let's go. Comes up, kind of kicks Sheamus in the ear. It was not a good kick. To say the least, it was a really bad kick. Mm-hmm. It's always funny to like listen to the announcers just being like, yeah, that was an interesting move, and you're like, no, he just didn't land it. We could just gloss over the whole goddamn thing. Don't make excuses. Riddle catches Corbin, sends a knee into Corbin's jaw, then suplexes Sheamus, knees him, does his little senton, stupid dumb move. Does a German suplex on Sheamus, and then gets him into a triangle sub. Sheamus curls him and then plants his ass into the canvas. It's a Cloverleaf submission on Riddle. Uso finally gets back in, kicks Sheamus to free Matt Riddle. Please stop shooting off fireworks. It's September. Well, it is Labor Day, actually. I guess I can't really talk too much about that. Sorry. Okay, so sports that are still happening. Jay gets back in, kicks Sheamus, frees Riddle. Corbin then almost kind of choke slams Jay. Kind of felt like we were about to get an end of days. We didn't. Jay frees himself, super kicks Sheamus, Riddle, and Corbin separately, not at the same time. It would be really cool if he had, though. I would have loved that. Then tries to attack Corbin, but Corbin shoulders him. Sheamus' name, but it confused me. Sheamus and Matt Riddle attack Corbin, sending him over the barricade. Jey Uso flies off of the ring and lands on Riddle and Sheamus, and then comes in and gets an elbow from him. And anger, he says, no. Just yeets Jay over the first row of LCD screens. And then once again, we almost had an end of days. Matt Riddle just had to step in and tell me to suck it. And I was like, I got a bro kick, but it wasn't worth it to me because it wasn't an end of days. That's the point. And then I'm going to take a long sip before I have to say this. We get the bro to sleep to Sheamus. Then I'm not saying the actual the move name here. Riddle sentons off the top rope. I'm gonna call it what it goddamn is. No.
It's a bro.
No. I'd rather have a mandible claw shoved down my jaw.
How about if a broton shoved down your jaw?
You know, if it killed me, fine.
Mandibroton.
I would have. You know what? I made a comment to Mark that I think that I'm going to go back through our podcast and find out all the people that I've challenged to fights for no good reason. Matt Riddle is next on that list. Here's his number one, but Matt Riddle's up there. I would love more to just scrap with him for a couple minutes before he kicks me in the jaw and I see out.
Yeah.
I know who I am at my core. I'm also a very angry person. So, three sentons off the top rope. Jay then somehow wins with a frog splash. And I guess this is going to be an interesting storyline that they're going down. It's got, family drama, which is cool. Not something that we get to see very often. And forward to seeing, because these are really deep family ties that have been used a lot of times before to show how strong their connection is. I'm interested to see how they work this. The thing is that Bayley is then in the ring with Jay, and she's like, "Jay, how important was this championship for you?" And Jay just shouts, "Yes, sir." And I was like, you know what? I don't care anymore. If he wins, he wins. Have it.
I think that's the perfect way to sum up SmackDown.
That was exactly how you could sum it up tonight. Yep.
But you know what? I'm gonna say it. I thought this SmackDown was one of the best in a while. They're bringing characters to, or bringing wrestlers to the spotlight, like Jey Uso, someone that's been sitting in the shadows for a while. We got some more development on Roman. We got some progress with Bayley and Sasha. We got developments with Big E. We got a lot of cool backstage stuff. The fights we had were all good fights.
first of all, I feel like we normally complain when we're like, oh, there was like only 3 fights tonight. Jesus Christ.
Mm-hmm.
But the promo game tonight was like on par with Raw.
Oh yeah.
We got a really awesome promo right in the beginning with Paul Heyman's speech. Although, like, I was joking, it was incredibly long, and I wanted to like explode. And Roman Reigns' face was the same the entire damn time.
But Paul Heyman's such a good speaker,
dude. If he wanted to speak for the next hour, I'd be like, yeah, you know what, sure. I don't care anymore. Let him have it. Really, we such a genuine promo in the beginning, and then to move from that to a really well done promo where they kind of took Big E out of commission.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, the Bayley and Sasha thing, which was just absolutely insane.
Yeah.
And honestly, as much as like I felt like the match that was supposed to be like the highlight didn't feel like did that much for me. Still had so many other elements involved in it that I was like,
still all right. A much better Fatal 4-Way than the NXT Iron Man match.
I went into this episode excited. I have left this episode excited.
Yeah.
I'm genuinely looking forward to next Friday.
Maybe that's the effect Paul Heyman has on SmackDown.
Dude, honestly, ever since he came back, I've been like, all right, let's keep going. Now I'm actually going to have energy for these because, like, you know, back to the 3 times a week as opposed to 15 times in 1 week. Oh my God.
And you know what's interesting? We didn't get Retribution at all today.
We're stuck on Raw now. So Friday nights are free of Retribution, baby.
Oh, man.
Having a good time now.
All right. Well, I actually, before we move into Best of the Night, I want to do this interesting thing that I thought I could incorporate like my stats with like every week. Just like a really small thing.
I don't have a sign for this.
That's okay.
What am I going to do?
Just kind of see who rose the ranks the most and who fell the ranks the most. It's like who had the highest improvement, who had the high or the lowest fall, I guess. We'll start with who rose the most. That's Casey Catanzaro. She went up 60 ranks. Despite her losing her match because we picked her for fighter and fight of the night. She had higher improvement than Candice did. And then the person who fell the most this week was Akira Tozawa because he lost his title.
Poor Akira.
He was just trying to park his car. He fell 52
he was
ranks.
Just showing up for work.
With his ninjas. But yeah, well, I want
all the ninjas rank, Mark.
Same place that all of Retribution is ranked.
Fair.
I feel like that'd be something cool to do, like at the end of every week.
I'll try to make another sign.
You don't need to make another sign. It's like a 5-second thing.
Imagine if I did, though.
No. Velveteen Dream.
Like.
Velveteen Dream. Okay, so
chat open now, by the way.
So it's S tier, A tier, B tier, C tier, D tier, E tier, F tier, double F tier. Objectively, this isn't like our opinion. Velveteen Dream is double F tier. Ranked number 194.
This is numbers, Mike. I promise.
Right below Lindsay Dorado, and right above Big Show. And just to tell you that it's all objective, Matt Riddle is like top 5.
No, we wouldn't do that on purpose.
Yeah.
I wouldn't allow it on my Smackdown or my podcast. My Smackdown.
Best of the night?
The sign's up. If the sign is up, it's best of the night.
So, promo. I will let you know that this will be the toughest part of the night.
Let's see, I think this is going to be the easiest part of the night for me.
Really? Okay.
Yes.
I'm really curious. So, we started off with Roman and Paul Heyman in the ring talking about the Universal Championship. And Paul Heyman, God, is he amazing on the mic.
For sure.
He is just a really good speaker. And then after that, we had the promo backstage with Roman and Heyman, along with Jey Uso. Really, really nice moment, actually. I thought it was a really well-acted, well-written moment with Jey Uso. I was surprised to see Jey backstage and, like, actually doing something. After that, we had the Xavier birthday promo with Big E, Drew Gulak, and Big Shay. The cousin of Big Show.
I thought that was a play on Big E.
No.
And I was like, that's mean, Mark.
Big Shay. Sheamus.
Hey. Shamey baby.
Yeah.
As Cesaro calls him Shamey.
Shamey.
I think he's just so sweet.
Yeah, that promo was really good. Big E sold that brogue kick like he got shot in the head.
Oh my god. He went down like a ton of bricks, my dude. And that cake that was meant for Xavier just fell on the ground. I was like, no!
That cake was the saddest
Xavier's
part
never
of the
gonna
episode.
Come now. That was my hopes for Xavier returning, just hitting the floor.
Oh. Well, on the bright side, on Up, Up, Down, Down, Xavier said, when I come back to wrestling.
We know he's gonna come back. It's just like, I feel like a child that's like been stuck in a car for 5 hours. And I'm like, are we there yet?
Yeah.
Dear God.
And then after that, we had an interview with Sasha and Bayley. Nothing too special there. Then we had a promo with Adam Pearce. I don't remember too much that happened this one. After that, we had, after the tag team match, we had Sasha getting treated in the ring for her knee injury, and then the absolute beatdown that was Bayley betraying Sasha, and basically turning into the ultimate women's heel. Not ultimate as in like the most heel character, but rather the best heel character, because she seemed like you know how women in WWE are like very poorly written right now, very poorly booked too.
Oh, almost always, yeah.
It's because all the energy went to Bayley. All of that writing went to Bayley.
They were like, we need our female writer specialist on the job.
And it.
Sorry, I just spilled hard seltzer all over my face and down my chest.
I was wondering what you were doing.
That's why I had to disappear. Yep. I was doing a bit, and then the bit back.
Mike, the hair versus hair match is going to happen at Clash of Champions, because I really want to see Bayley lose the Karen haircut. Even though it works for heel Bayley. Like when she was...
But I'd like heel Bayley to just not have that anymore. Even as a heel, it still pains me.
I want... Even just a bob. She could just get a bob. It's fine.
Michael Cole, who compared Retribution to Antifa, was like, she's got the Karen haircut going on, like when she came out months ago or something.
Yeah.
I was like, if Michael Cole's saying something, like, you know it's bad.
But yeah, that promo was like one of the most like emotional promos that we've had, where like we actually sat there and we're like, oh my god, like this is devastating. And it's even with characters that we have like very much disliked for a while. Like we really felt bad for Sasha because, you know, they just did a damn good job writing them.
I feel like I was pulling something apart so hard, and finally it broke, and I just went flying in the other direction. I was like, no, put it back. That fucking hurt.
But after that, we had Sami Zayn, Jeff Hardy, and AJ Styles in the ring arguing about the Intercontinental Championship. I really want to see any match involving Sami Zayn. And
I want to see anything involving Sami Zayn.
oh yeah, anything.
Give me an hour of him just watching paint dry, and I'm there. I'll sit.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. I am dreading the moment that he has to go back to Cesaro and Shinsuke and have his heart broken by them.
He's not going to. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying.
And then after that, we had a promo with Heavy Machinery where they revealed that the contract was in the little lunchbox. Then we had a promo with Roman and Jay in the locker room, in the private changing room. Then we had a surprise Firefly Funhouse, which didn't have too much to it. And then we had the promo with Nikki and Alexa that had a little subtle bunny puppet in the background, the kind of stuff that I love out of Bray Wyatt stuff. But no, there's one choice that I'm picking, and that is Bayley and Sasha all the way.
Yeah, okay.
It was the most devastating thing that's ever happened on WWE in a long time, and it's like one of the first things that actually like broke me.
That's why I said like this is like not hard for me to choose, because it like that was something that we've been waiting for ever. But also like it hurt so bad. It hurt so bad when that happened. I'm so excited to see where this goes. But god damn, it just made me not happy.
Yeah. And Mike,
made me as happy as I really thought it would.
Mike, I'm sorry about Big E, but every time Big E is on, he just has so much good competition. Happened at Payback, happening again, happened Smackdown before that.
Maybe next week.
So Fighter of the Night?
we got to sacrifice the lamb to the gods of next week for Big E.
Fighter of the Night?
If you wanna.
Alright, so we had 3 matches, so not too much to go over. We started off with Heavy Machinery versus The Miz and Morrison, and even when he's getting beat down, John Morrison looks damn good. Second place in this fight to Tucker, who looked a lot better than he normally does. Normally he's just like there while Otis is doing the worm. But John Morrison, my God, is that man athletic as hell. He can do so much. And even just like his like performance, like his non-fighting performance was so funny when he just looked up so gleefully at the Miz and said, "Now what?" Like so proud of himself.
He's like, "I did what you wanted."
He's just,
what do now?
He is such a good wrestler, such a good personality. I wish he was in a better spot as far as booking goes. But I'm also not.
Morrison and the Miz need to be singles.
I'm also not unsatisfied where he is right now. I think A, being with the Miz is great, and B, being sort of like this comic relief of SmackDown is pretty great. But I do need to sort of take off points for like sort of just a lack of screen time, a lack of performance during this fight. Like he wasn't doing so hot as a character.
Professor Mark, no.
He like, I mean, he didn't have much focus. The fight wasn't really on him so much, so it's hard to give it to him. And then we move into Sasha and Bayley versus Shayna and Nia. And again, I gotta give it to Shayna here. Shayna is a damn good wrestler. I think she's everything that Ronda Rousey was supposed to be. And she's
also kind of funny sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry.
Especially knowing like who she is out of the ring, and like the fact that she's just like one of the nicest people in the WWE outside of kayfabe. I love her. I love her wrestling style. I think she was so good today. She almost had a double submission like she did last time, but she got broke out by Bayley. She didn't look as hot this time as she did during Payback, but still, she looked fantastic. Oh, was it Payback or Raw? That was the last. I think it was Raw, actually. Yeah, it was Raw. No, it was Payback.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
Payback.
Huh.
I don't know what I'm thinking, but yeah, Payback.
Yeah. We've done so many shows in like 1 week, Mark. In 2 weeks. Allowed to get it mixed up.
Yeah, Shayna didn't look as good as she did at Payback, but she still looked fantastic. I want to see more. I want to see more Shayna. I want to see Nia looking as good as she did at Payback too. She didn't look bad today. She had a couple bad moments where she had like the softest little kicks or like stuff like that, where she's just a little too gentle, which is something I never thought I'd say about Nia Jax.
To be fair, I don't know if maybe she was like kind of unsure as to whether or not Sasha was actually like hurting a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe she was just like, I'll be careful.
Yeah.
Because I've been accused of not being careful a lot. So I do like that I'm starting to see, and I think we talked about this before. I think Shayna's the perfect person for her to be with, because although Shayna is not the same body type as Nia, I think Shayna uses so much force with her moves and so much brutality.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that Nia wants to do that, but has not had the proper training to do that without hurting someone actually. I think that this is the perfect setup.
And I think that the thing Nia's needed in order to get like a better personality and a better just overall performance in the WWE was a tag team partner. She's had nobody to work off of. She's had like no kind of direction for her character. It's always just been, she's Nia and she's here.
She's Negadom.
Yeah.
Dom's just like so smiling. He's like so sweet, and like there's nothing happening. He just looks scared, whereas she just looks pissed off and angry all the time. And I'm like, give me something, honey, please.
Yeah.
I want to like you.
But now she has chemistry, which is definitely what she's needed.
And she looks like she has motivation too. Like, even like, again, going back to how she acted at Payback when she won, and even now when like they win afterwards, like she acts so high and mighty, and she's got a reason now.
Oh yeah.
As opposed to just being like, I got choked out by Asuka last week, but I'm still here and I'm still gonna act like I'm better than you. It's like, oh no, not quite. But yeah, I'm really happy with this. I'm happy that I can finally, maybe in a couple of weeks, we'll be like, oh my god, I love Nia Jax so much, and then we can look back on old times when we hated her.
Yeah, we'll see.
Fingers crossed.
And then we have the Fatal 4-Way between Matt Riddle, King Corbin, Sheamus, and Jey Uso. For this fight, I think I gotta pick Sheamus. He looked like the most composed out of anyone here. Second for me is King Corbin. Corbin had like the flashier moves, but I think overall Sheamus had the better performance, because although Corbin was like flashier, he didn't throw out so much. And those moves were kind of all he had. Most of his big stuff was countered or just stopped in general. Sheamus, we saw Sheamus. We saw who he was meant to be. We saw the brutal Celtic warrior.
I'd still like to see an end to those stupid, God-forsaken suspenders and that hat.
No.
And my God, if I see that coat one more time, Sheamus, oh no. I know that we are brothers in arms, as we are Liverpool fans, and we have suffered the same fate for an extended period of time. I'm wearing your shirt tonight because I love you. However, oh my God, I can't stand it. Oh.
You want to challenge Sheamus to a match at Clash of Champions? The title being the suspenders.
Yeah. Loser has to stop wearing suspenders and goofy coats and goofy hats.
Somebody clip this and send it to Seamus. Thank you.
Please, I would love to either somebody or me, to make a supercut of every time I was like, I want to challenge this person. I will go back to the beginning of time, aka for like when we started this podcast, and I will find them. I want that to be instead of the in memoriam that like awards shows have. I want it to be supercuts of me just challenging literally anyone that bothers me. And it's just going to be Corey Graves and interspersed like Shames, Cesaro. Maybe Michael Cole. I'm sure I've said that about Michael Cole at some point. Probably Drew.
But going back on topic, yeah, Sheamus looked the best out of anyone today. Or anyone in this fight. Corey Graves does not get a spot in the rankings.
Corey Graves is actually sadly below Velveteen Dream.
But picking
Wi-Fi forehead.
Picking a fighter today is pretty tough. Because nobody absolutely looked fantastic. Nobody looked like an all-star. Everyone just looked good. There wasn't anybody that looked bad today, I'd say. But I'm gonna go with Sheamus. Now I'm willing to change depending on the argument. Who's your pick? Is it Shayna Baszler?
I don't like doing this. Oh.
No?
No.
Bayley?
Oh. It's a tie for me personally between Bayley and Sasha, I think.
Oh, okay.
Bayley didn't perform that well tonight. I think that was part of the story. I think the whole reason that she attacked Sasha was that like Sasha looked goddamn good. If we're sticking to kayfabe here, if we were grouping in the promo with the fight, it would be Bayley, because my God, woman, that was horrifying. But Sasha like did basically all the work for her half of the team tonight.
Oh yeah.
She looked awesome. When she finally got in, she was able to take out both Shayna and Nia at different times. On top of that, after smacking her shin into the post, which frankly I've smacked my shin into less formidable things in regular life, going at a much lower speed, and it still hurt because that's just bone, and she's a very skinny person, so I imagine that's literally just bone right there. So regardless of whether it's kayfabe that she shattered the whole goddamn thing or not, I'm sure that hurt, and she still suffered through Shayna stomping it and still tried to fight Nia afterwards. I mean, she made me excited. I really thought that we were going to see the title switching hands tonight again. At least when Sasha was in.
Okay. I'll concede really to Sasha.
I knocked the sign. There.
I'll concede to Sasha. So Sasha will be our fighter of the night tonight. Now, fight of the night. I think we're gonna have we're gonna have a consensus on this. I can almost guarantee it.
I think.
I
think now.
So we started off with Heavy Machinery versus Miz and Morrison. There was really
it's that. Sorry, I'm being a jerk. Go on.
There was no lead into this. There was no story or anything. It was just, this happened. they said the stipulation beforehand. Going out of it, there was a little bit with the promos and everything. John Morrison stealing the briefcase, you know. But there wasn't much to go on. It was alright. It was a good fight.
Johnny didn't even get some good moves in, which is sad.
He had a couple, but nothing John Morrison level. After that, we had Sasha and Bayley versus Shayna and Nia. Definitely nowhere near as good as the Payback version of this fight, but this was still a damn good fight. With like all of our least favorite people, or if you asked us like a month ago, it would have been all of our least favorite people. Shayna looked great. Nia looked pretty good. Sasha looked great. Bayley looked great. And then leading out of this, we had the best promo that we've had in a long time. Before this, going into this, we had a running storyline that actually had us invested. This match had everything. It really, really had everything. And it didn't end in a stupid like distraction. It didn't end in anything like that. It was just a genuine fight that really gripped us. And then after that, we had the Fatal 4-Way for the chance at the Universal title between Matt Riddle, King Corbin, Sheamus, and Jey Uso. It was a good fight. But the only thing really leading us into this was the promos with Jey Uso and Roman. And I mean, based on that, you could just guess who won. And it does leave me excited, but I feel like the match was kind of lacking something. I feel like you kind of had the cliche of, oh, it's a fatal 4-way, so like the two heels kind of team up for a little bit, one betrays the other. You have a moment where the two faces team up, go against the heels. It was a fight filled with cliches, but I think it was still done in a very, very good way. But I don't think it's a match for the tag team match between Sasha and Bayley versus Shayna and Nia, so that's my pick for fight of the night.
I'm not taking this dramatic pause because I disagree. I agree. I love this match. I 100% felt like it's sort of like Christmas, where you're like, yeah, it's Christmas! And then Christmas like night comes and you're like, oh, Christmas is over. I gotta deal with that post-Christmas and I'm sad all the time. So like I'm sad that we reached the peak of the mountain. But dear God, for as angry as I have been with how this has gone, and with how much frustration I have expressed over the course of time because of this storyline, and because like we're really getting like a ramped up version of this up until a point where all of a sudden they're like, we're best friends, and I was like, yeah, are you? You weren't a couple weeks ago. You guys were arguing a couple weeks ago. To finally get this payoff was awesome. Heartbreaking, and there was a ton of good fighting in between that. And even I kind of like, I came to about not even halfway, probably earlier on in the fight. I was like, oh, maybe there's something that's going to happen here. Like, maybe that's why they're doing this match. Maybe this is supposed to be kind of like the catalyst to the end for real.
Mm-hmm.
And even when I thought that was how that was going to go, because I told you, I was like, oh, I think I know what's going to happen. And then a lot of things happened to point me in the opposite direction. I was like, oh, I don't think so. And you asked me what it was. And I was like, I thought Sasha was just going to leave. For them to lead me into this trap where I was like, wait, something's going to happen here. And then completely swerve. Like also onto the swerve. We can't say that, sorry. Swerve. To completely swerve me onto a different path, but like the same path all at the same time. I was like, fuck?
Mm-hmm.
And it was there was a little bit of comedy in the way that Shayna and Nia interacted. There was good fighting. There was a lot of determination. And then there was just utter pain.
Mm-hmm.
Frankly, it's more than a lot of movies give us nowadays, and they did that in like 15 minutes. And I was like, all right, with a commercial break.
And I think one of my favorite things about both this fight and the fight at Payback are you can see the progression of Nia's and Shayna's relationship in just their tag team alone, their cooperation, their communication. It changes throughout the fight. You know, they don't just start like they don't just hate each other throughout the whole thing or are a perfect tag team through the whole thing. It's the whole time it's dynamic, it evolves, it changes, and it's everything we've been wanting from a women's tag team.
Yeah.
And I cannot believe it is two of the people that we have disliked the most during our progress of WWE.
I think it's interesting that we're getting the two of them, like the two most unlikely suspects, kind of figuring their shit out as they go, in spite of the fact that they've been so incredibly hard-headed
Mm-hmm.
the entire time we've been watching them. And prior, mind you, I was when they got together, I was like, Shayna's not a tag team person, on the slightest.
And that's what's great about it.
I didn't expect I was gonna like it this much, and then to get that, and like I didn't love like the whole like Bayley like walking out pouting, because I was like, I get it, you're sad, okay. But I can forgive all that now. That was whatever. I don't care about that. That's like back of my head. The way that she expressed this sudden decision to just be like, no, fuck you. And to destroy her best friend it's amazing. We're getting like this beautiful arc in like the Nia Shayna evolution.
Mm-hmm.
We're getting this horrible downspin that's also just as like wonderfully written. I never thought that I'd be saying this much about how well written something was for goddamn Smackdown.
Imagine,
which, mind you, is still technically people who fight on Raw. So
imagine you went to us like during Money in the Bank, like right before Money in the Bank, and you told us that in September of 2020, Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler will be our favorite women's tag team. We would think you're nuts, especially considering that not only do we have them, we have Liv and Ruby together. A little while ago, we had the Iconics. We have Bayley and Sasha. We had Asuka and Kairi.
Drew's dead.
We have Lana and Natalia now.
We have no New Day.
And yet it's Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler.
Hey, you like... I see where you're going. I'm sorry for keeping for...
Hello, Elizabeth.
Nope.
What was that?
I'm turning... That was Siri.
That was weird.
I have never heard her call me by my name.
Machines are rising up.
I made too many jokes about knowing how to code those things now that she heard me.
We should end the podcast before everything starts rising up against us.
Okay. And I'm broadcasting from a Mac, so...
To throw us back, our promo of the night, Bayley beating down Sasha Banks. Fighter of the night, Sasha Banks. Fight of the night, Bayley and Sasha Banks versus Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. So basically that whole 15 to 20 minutes was our favorite part of the night.
Yeah. And to be fair, there was a lot of stuff that could have contested that easily.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry for scaring you, Kat. Going deeper under the bed because I threw my phone onto the bed.
Oh.
Oh no, she's coming out. Coming out of her cage and she's doing just fine.
She
And
doesn't
there she
care.
goes. For my legs.
Cat cam.
My little spandex shorts. See? I'm wearing pants, I promise. You don't know.
Want to wrap us out?
Yes. I think I will wrap us out. Alright. And this Monday is pretty please. The cherry on top. Labor Day. Be fun. Probably. I
Is there
won't be doing anything.
gonna be a Raw going on Labor Day?
Mark, they don't have holidays. So they broadcast. They tape this stuff, so we'll know it's live, quote unquote.
Now it's. I guess it has to be like actually live now because they have live virtual viewers.
Yeah. So join us Monday. We will be back for our Raw podcast. I will actually have significantly less hair because I'm having my sibling cut it off for me this Sunday.
Demi Mania.
I don't want to call it that at all, Mike. But maybe we'll finally learn why she's only to find out why she's there, okay? Also because I get to see Dominic Dijakovic in this very tight black hoodie. Sorry.
Honestly, Mike, you're right. She will be getting more screen time than Ricochet and Mustafa. Anyway.
It's upsetting. Anyways, so join us on Monday. We will be back. Kat will be back.
Unfortunately.
I will have less hair. My phone will have less horrifying robots saying my name and creepy voices. And maybe we won't have a Seth Dominic fight.
Probably will.
Or McIntyre will still be dead. And that's pretty much it.
So thanks for watching, everybody. If you enjoyed, please hit that follow button below. Hit the little bell so you're notified whenever we go live. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. You'll know whenever we put out a new video. And follow our Twitter at the Pinfall Cast. Remove the pod, and that's Twitter. We announce whenever we go live on there as well. And if you miss a podcast, you'll be able to see our fighter and fight of the night for that night. And then also, if you're watching live, check us out on YouTube to catch the rest of this podcast or all of our previous ones. That's the Pinfall Podcast on YouTube. We still haven't changed our profile picture yet. And check out
Won't be us.
check out our personal Twitters. Also, I'm at the Mark Cameron. Liz is at Eliza Elaine23. And check out my personal Twitch, twitch.tv/Mark Cameron or markcameron.live. Buy some UPF merch. If you're into Pokemon and or wrestling, because we combine Pokemon with the fundamentals of professional wrestling. And check out our YouTube channel, Verismo Productions, where we make short films and really cool creative stuff. You thought I was announcing the Pinfall Podcast YouTube
You're
again.
reiterating it. Yeah.
We have two YouTubes, Verismo Productions, VERISMO, and the Pinfall Podcast. And that's it.
The coffee machine.
Yep.
Thank you for tuning in. We love having you guys here. It's always very fun. You guys help us learn about things quicker than we would if we were spending half the podcast looking things up after we make silly comments. So thank you guys for being around. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for talking to us. Thank you.
And let us know what you think of the fighter and fight of the night on Twitter after we post tonight's results. And also,
let us know what you think about our cat.
And let us know
Twitter.
what categories you want us to have at the Mike Romies, our awards show at the end of the year.
I forced this to happen, and now it's going to happen. So we will be doing it on an off day. We will not be doing it on a podcast day. We'll probably just do it on like a weekend or something.
We'll be announcing it way beforehand,
just to make it easier for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we'll announce a date way beforehand, on a time that will not interfere with the holidays. probably a week before Christmas or something. I don't know.
Maybe early December.
Just let us know. Let us know, what do you want?
We could even do it like into January, like how the Oscars is in February.
I want to do it in December.
Okay, well, episodes will still happen afterwards if we do it in December.
Yeah, we're not doing the Mike Romies and peacing out. That's not happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're gonna be here forever.
No. I mean, like, like episodes of WWE will be happening if we do the Mike Romies in December.
I'll grandfather them into the next year's Mike Romies.
Okay. Well, thank you all for watching.
Can we get Mike Romie as a Mike Romie presenter?
We will see you on Monday for Monday Night Raw.